Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Mark Marex, Director of Index Research and Development at Nasdaq Investment Intelligence, to discuss December performance for Nasdaq indexes. Mark, it's great to see you as always. Happy New Year. And I would imagine that we're going to see a lot of green on these next few slides.
Hey, Jill, Happy New Year. And you got it. What a way to end the year. And what a year it was indeed for a lot of the featured NASDAQ indexes, sort of the NASDAQ branded indexes that are most closely associated with our index business. Starting off with the NASDAQ 100 in December, we were up another 5.5%. On a price return basis, that led us to a gain for the full year of almost 54%. That's about 30 percentage points better than what the S&P 500 did. So really just a historic year throughout. We set records in the first half in terms of best first half of performance ever for the NDX. We had a bit of a pause in the rally in the third quarter, and then things really took off again sort of in the last 2 months of the year. So finishing on a strong note. NASDAQ 100 equal weighted also finished really strong, up 7.5% after spending most of the year trailing pretty significantly what the cap-weighted NASDAQ 100 was doing. The other ones that I highlighted here on this slide that I wanted folks to take note of is the NASDAQ Innovators Completion Cap, which tracks sort of the small cap component of innovative companies that are NASDAQ listed. That one outperformed in December, up 16.5% after really having a tough year most of the year as small caps really more generally struggled, but especially in the growth and tech space. You can see on the right-hand side there, the NASDAQ US Small Cap Benchmark also had a really good December, up almost 13%, sort of more than doubling, almost tripling what the large cap benchmark did. So really solid way to end out the year in terms of the things that were doing well most of the year continued to have great performance. And even the areas of the market that struggled, like banks, like small caps, really put in a solid wrap up to the year in December.
They certainly did. If we take a look at the next chart here with our tech and thematic indexes, I mean, you can really see where the performance came from.
Yeah, so, again, a lot of green on this slide. No indexes were down for the month of December in our thematic and tech suite. Couple of the ones I highlighted here, again, relating to sort of that financial bank space. NASDAQ CTA Global Digital Payments up about 13%. The KBW Nasdaq FinTech Index also up about 13%. Those were among the leaders, as well as some of our semiconductor products. The PHLX Semiconductor Index, that's SOX. The industry benchmark was up another 12%. That product was up, I believe, about 67% for the entire year. Best year of performance, I think, in about 14 years for that space. And then also some strength in the sort of healthcare and biotech sectors, where, again, a lot of trouble, a lot of struggles throughout most of 2023 after a rough 2022. But you can see the NASDAQ Biotech Benchmark up 13%, NASDAQ Lux Health Tech up 13%, NASDAQ CTA Global Digital Health up 10%. So really broadening that rally throughout the year, which was concentrated in that large cap tech space, kind of spreading out to some of those other areas and thematics in December.
Let's take a look at the Nordic and ESG indexes. Any trends that you can discern from here?
Yeah, so pretty broad-based strength, right? The only areas that had a down month in December on this whole slide are sort of the bottom two there on the right-hand side of thematic ESG. So kind of niche indexes focusing on nickel miners and junior uranium miners. But you can see copper and lithium did really well. The NASDAQ Sprott kind of broad energy transition materials benchmark did really well, up 11%. NASDAQ Clean Edge Green Energy up over 15% in December after having a really, again, really rough year most of 2023. Powerful rally to close things out. And within our sort of NASDAQ OMX Green Economy suite, everyone was up between 7 to about 11 percentage points for December.
And if we take a look at the income options and Nasdaq Dorsey White suite of indexes, is this what we would consider more factor-oriented indexes?
Yeah, so this is definitely more of an alternative index construction page. No thematics here. What you've got sort of on the top left is that dividend and income suite. So that gives you, US rising dividend achievers, broad dividend achievers, different flavors of companies in the US and internationally that are doing well in terms of dividend consistency and dividend growth over longer look back periods. We even got some buyback achievers in there. All of them had a pretty strong December after having a tough 2023 where they were largely out of favor. Bottom left, you got your options suite there. Pretty solid green positive performance across that suite as well, no matter sort of what sort of options overlay you put on the Nasdaq 100 there. And then on the right-hand side, that's the Dorsey Wright suite. So the relative strength, sort of momentum-driven approach to selecting leading companies by sector, or also internationally across a few different markets. Everyone in the green except for one product, the Nasdaq Dorsey Wright Dali index was down 4% there for December. But really solid story to finish out the rest of the year, and we're looking forward to seeing what happens in 2024, whether the strong performance persists into the first quarter and beyond.
All right, Mark, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.